Our next segment comes from Human Events. And boy, oh boy, did the mask slip Al Jazeera. The story is titled Al Jazeera. And then there's a quote that's extremely anti-Semitic, which I'm not going to read because I don't even want to take it out of context. But they say a recent video promoted by the Qatari state-backed Al Jazeera network accuses Jewish people of exploiting the Holocaust, as well as claiming it's different from how the Jews tell it. Interesting. Al Jazeera Plus, one of the wokest of woke in terms of digital production, based in San Francisco, at least that's the last time I checked, and they produce some of the wokest race-baiting rage bait you'll ever see. Non-stop police brutality videos, far-left rhetoric, and it always confused me why this stuff is heavily influential and damaging to public discourse. It's funded by a foreign government. No one seems to care. Why? The Russia stuff is pointed at the anti-SJWs. It's pointed at conservatives. Heaven forbid the media calls itself out when the media is promoting a far-left agenda, a woke social justice regressive agenda. So, of course, Al Jazeera gets away with it. It's really, really interesting, though. You see the mask slip. Now, Al Jazeera was extremely embarrassed, but apparently now people are digging up other Al Jazeera Arabic videos. So this was in Arabic. Of course, they hold this negative opinion about Jewish people because they're based in Qatar, they're pro-Palestine, and so they're going to smear Jewish people, particularly Israel. But this shows another really good, something else that's really, really important. People often say, why is it that Ilhan Omar is an anti-Semite? She's not criticizing Jewish people, she's criticizing Israel. Oh, and then you look at the rhetoric from Al Jazeera Arabic. When they talk about Israel, they are talking about Jewish people. It's not always. There's principled opposition to the actions of Israel, for sure. But I want to bring up this point that David Peckman made a good point about this a while ago. What you have to understand is the U.S. funds many countries. And Israel is something like 6 to 7% of how much we spend. I believe it is not even the most we spend in terms of foreign aid, but in terms of an autonomous government, it is. However, you can look at Kenya, you can look at other countries where we're giving $500 million, no criticism. Sudan. I mean, there's a bunch of bad stuff happening around the world, and the U.S. funds it, but it's always, always Israel. You look at who Ilhan Omar associates with. The Women's March, Linda Sarsour, etc. Overt anti-Semites. We know it. New York Times reported it. You see this. What the story from Al Jazeera Plus Arabic was not denying the Holocaust. It was claiming that they were exploiting it for personal gain and Zionism, because they're actually talking about Israel. So you see the connection, right? Let's read a little bit of this. Human Event says, a recent video promoted by the Qatari state-backed Al Jazeera network accuses Jewish people of exploiting the Holocaust, as well as claiming it's different from how the Jews tell it. The video went viral for all the wrong reasons earlier this week, as the network's AJ Plus channel rebranded to hide the Al Jazeera moniker and aimed mostly at young people online published the clips now archived by memory. I can't even read these captions. Seriously. That's like, it's the stuff. Look, I'm not surprised Al Jazeera is producing this, and I'm especially not surprised the media is duplicitous and just full of BS, okay? Think about it this way. Why is it that Al Jazeera Arabic will put out this extreme anti-Semitic content, but in Al Jazeera in the United States will be woke? Ask yourself that question. How could they seemingly conflict their own narrative, right? They want to defend marginalized groups in America, but they oppose the Jewish people in their for their Arabic language stuff? You know, the Al Jazeera Plus Arabic isn't only targeting foreign countries. There are people in the United States who speak Arabic. Not only that, think about Al Jazeera Plus, who they associate with in the United States, the woke left, and then you can look at the Women's March, and you can see how it all comes together. The mask has slipped. We know it. It's one of the most frustrating things, and why I frequently call out these fringe wingnuts. They are racist, bigots, sexist, anti-Semites. They are, and they use the mask of social justice to push this insane behavior. Let's make one thing clear. If you oppose racism, then you also oppose people who would target someone for being white, Racism doesn't know color. It's just discrimination based on race. It could be positive or negative. Why then do these people think that's not true or try to change the definition? Because they are racist. Period. I do want to highlight this, though. The Guardian says, Al Jazeera suspends 2 journalists over Holocaust report. Images of persecution of Jews shown as narration asked, why is there a focus only on them? Interesting, right? Very, very interesting. It's always about Israel. Guardian says, Al Jazeera has suspended 2 journalists after they published a video that suggested Jews had exploited their supposed control of media, financial, and academic institutions to exaggerate the extent of the Holocaust. Yeah, surprise, surprise, AJ+. The clip, posted by the Qatari broadcaster AJ+ social media service, describes the deaths of 6 million Jews at the hands of the Nazis as a narrative. Wow. The mask slips, plain and simple. I don't even want to read some of this stuff. It's so crazy. Al Jazeera said it had removed the clip. The video, content, and accompanying post were swiftly deleted by AJ+ senior management from all AJ+ pages and accounts on social media as it contravened the network's editorial standards. The broadcaster is funded by the Qatari government as part of the Gulf country's soft power campaign around the world. The row will focus attention on the differences between Al Jazeera's English language service, aimed at audiences around the world, and the Arabic language channel, which often adopts a substantially different tone. The clip, which attracted hundreds of thousands of views before it was deleted, was posted by the youth-focused AJ+, which creates video explainers designed to go viral on social media. Its English language videos often adopt a liberal stance on issues such as LGBT rights, racial inequality, and religious freedom, but there has been less scrutiny of the output of the Arabic language videos created by AJ+. So why is it that CNN and these other, BuzzFeed aren't targeting them? Why isn't Media Matters coming after them? Because it's not about principle. It's not about politics. It's about tribe. These people are insane. Okay? They believe crazy anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. They conflate. They're purposefully trying to make it about Israel specifically because Israel is, my understanding is, the only Jewish state in the world. That's another thing that really bothers me about these people like AJ+, these far leftists who pretend to not be anti-Semites. In that, I ask people this. How many countries are Christian? A lot. How many countries are Muslim? A lot. Dozens for each. 2 of the biggest religions in the world. How many countries are Jewish? Israel. And that's it. So then it's very easy for them to say, oh, no, we're not targeting Jewish people, we're targeting Israel. Right, sure, the only Jewish state. At least my understanding. I could be wrong. I don't, correct me if I'm wrong. Then you see them using the woke narrative to push their ideas. But as it turns out, they are who they claim to be fighting. Do you think we're going to see the narrative of the far right Al Jazeera Plus? Are they going to call AJ Plus now far right? Of course not. It's all part of the game. The video said that along with others, Jews faced a policy of systematic persecution which culminated in the final solution. But it went on to suggest that because the Jewish community's access to financial resources and media institutions, they claimed that it was able to put a special spotlight on suffering. And then they suggest the ideology of the Israeli state was influenced by Nazis. And there you have it. There you have it. The story is about Jewish people and the persecution they face, but then there it goes, straight to Israel. Al Jazeera completely disowns the offensive content in question and reiterated that Al Jazeera would not tolerate such material. I believe that is a full-on lie, because people have pulled up other content from them. The executive director of the digital division, he also, that's from Yasser Bashir, the executive director of the digital division. He also called for staff to be given mandatory bias training. 2 suspensions. Yes, just go home and wait for this to blow over, because they wanted it. They approved this. It wasn't the 2 journalists who were at fault. It's the whole network for giving editorial control and allowing this content to persist. They say, among other issues, Saudi Arabia has demanded Qatar cease funding Al Jazeera, which they believe is responsible for fomenting dissent in other Arab countries by promoting challenges to established leaders. Al Jazeera has previously been accused of promoting anti-Semitic tropes in its coverage. Previously been accused. They literally did it in one of the most insane things I have ever seen. And look at that. AJ Plus logo right in the video. So do you think we're going to see the woke brigade come after them? Of course not. You know why? They believe it. They agree with it. I was so confused when they stood behind Linda Sarsour, who in New York Times and Tablet Magazine have outed as an overt anti-Semite with crazy conspiracy beliefs. They stood by her. Ocasio-Cortez spoke at the Women's March. Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, they're all friends with them. Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar are very pro-Palestine. So it's no surprise they believe this and are aligned with these people. And this is what bugs me. So I wonder if then we're going to see, you know, I don't know, like Right Wing Watch or other far left or left wing groups agree with me on this issue. It's all there. I don't think anything I said has been completely incorrect. Obviously, I have my opinions, but am I wrong? They did this. Look at this. It's mind blowing, and they do it on it's on purpose. You know what their true agenda is. They're trying to push a narrative, and they're using social justice to push, I guess, what I could only call some kind of fascistic ideology. I'm going to leave it there. I don't want to prattle. I got one more segment coming up for you in a few minutes. Thanks for hanging out. I will see you shortly.